What did you buy as an adult because you were denied it as a child? Story 1. Hobbies for my kids, the ones they want. I wanted to play sports and play guitar, but was always told no. I wanted to learn to play literally any instrument, but was denied. I wanted to play hockey too, but wasn't allowed. It wasn't because of money. I was put unwillingly into other activities that I never asked for or wanted. So when my kid asked for cello lessons at the age of 7, they got cello lessons. When my youngest said they wanted to give up soccer for ballet, we swapped soccer for ballet. My only rule is they have to finish the season. They are not allowed to join a team or group and quit partway through. Without good reason. They have to finish the season before quitting. Story 2. A Build-A-Bear. I had always wanted one growing up, but was always told no because it was too expensive. I finally decided to do it and went through the whole process of making one and filling it with love and wishes. You know, the whole magical process they do for the kiddos. I haven't slept with a stuffed animal since I was little. And yet, I can hold on to my little bear throughout the night and wake up holding it. Whenever I feel sad or homesick, I just cuddle with it, and it honestly helps. It may be silly to others, but sometimes your inner child just needs something to feel safe and comforted when life gets overwhelming. And that's okay. Don't let anyone take away what brings you joy. Story 3. An American Girl doll. I had a childhood friend who took a trip to NYC and surprised me with an American Girl doll. It was a Just Like You doll. I loved her so much. I didn't come from a great home life. Being raised by a single parent, we had financial struggles. One day, my mom went behind my back and sold the doll. I was heartbroken, but my mom argued that we needed the money. I'm now 27 and just purchased my first American Girl doll. It was secondhand bought through eBay. But I have no regrets. Story 4. Uncoordinated. Furniture. Non-matching dishes. Thrift store clothes. Varying colored shoes. Garage sale items. Dark-colored clothes. Silver jewelry, etc. My mom was obsessed with everything being new, perfect, matching, and girl colors. Oh, and all jewelry had to be gold. Now that I'm an adult, I can have whatever I want and never wear pink ever again. And it's glorious. She despises that all my furniture was bought via thrift or marketplace, that I don't have a matching dish set, bedding set, or living room set. I see zero point in spending money on brand new things, especially with kids around. I had to walk on eggshells growing up for fear I'd break something or spill something. My kids don't get yelled at for breaking a plate or spilling a glass of Kool-Aid because they're human and mistakes happen. I also don't lose my mind because I didn't spend an entire paycheck on the matching dishes. It sounds silly, but it's just nice to actually live in my house and not just be a guest in it. Story 5. A Christmas tree. When I was a kid, my family wanted a really big Christmas. We had a little 12-inch metal tree that sat on our coffee table. It was cute, but I always envied those tall, classic-looking Christmas trees. I'm not up for the upkeep of a real tree, so I bought a really realistic-looking fake one. It's 6 feet tall, and I bought red and gold ornaments to go on it. My husband says it looks like a Hallmark tree, which is exactly what I was going for. It makes me so happy to put it up every year. My husband and I started all these cheesy little Christmas traditions too, so I'm glad our kids will have those memories one day. Story 6. A separate bedroom for my daughter. This was actually difficult for me to grasp when we moved into our new flat with the second bedroom and stopped co-sleeping. I had no idea how to set it up. I never had my own room as a kid and lived in a one-bedroom with my mom and brother. My brother and I slept in the living room on a mattress on the floor that we would roll up after we woke up, so the living room could carry on being a living room instead of our makeshift bedroom. When I set up my daughter's bed in her own bedroom, I almost cried because I realized that I'd never had my own room, so no clue how she was supposed to live in it. Luckily, my wife grew up in a house with multiple bedrooms and knew what she was doing. Oh, also a fridge full of fizzy drinks and a cabinet full of crisps. Also something I never had as a kid. But when I went to my rich friends' houses, they always had those on request. Story 7. In all honesty, baking supplies. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I really wanted an easy bake oven. You know the toy where you just put some powder into it and effectively microwave, light bulb, bakes. It's unholy concoction so you can eat it. I thought it was fantastic, and then I could have it and make my own food. Yet my parents and brothers ridiculed me and said it was a toy for girls. Then when I was 13 or 14, I expressed that I wanted to be a chef when I grew up, which my mother was not supportive of, saying it was women's work, while my dad tried his best to be on board. My dad would try to support me, but it would always come across as condescending or belittling in my super sensitive teenage years. So I gave up that dream and studied physics in school and became an IT consultant. It dawned on me when I met my wife that I could learn how to cook and bake better. She is terrible in the kitchen, so I took on that role. Now 6 years after taking on that chore of baking and cooking, I have rekindled my love of the craft. I have since purchased multiple cookbooks spanning various cuisines, but I truly enjoy the odd recipes that taste fantastic. Carrot pie, tomato soup, chocolate cake, mock apple pie, and a whole plethora of just strange recipes. Story 8. Oh, so many things. I grew up poor, or at least I thought so because I never got anything because it was too expensive, but looking back at the computers and mountain bikes my brother got, I think I was just being abused. At some point, I stopped asking for anything because I was too worried about money, and then I stopped even wanting anything since I thought I couldn't possibly deserve anything. So after that unsolicited trauma dump, I'll list some things. I bought one of those rugs that have a cityscape on them, the ones you use with little cars. I had it for years in use in our kitchen, but then my dog pooped on it, and I just couldn't get it clean and had to throw it out. I've started buying Legos. I always wanted them as a child, and begged my brother to let me play with his insane collection, but he rarely allowed me to. I love the botanical series, and it has healed something in me to put them together and just play for no reason. So many art supplies, craft supplies, books, clothes that I actually like, good winter clothes that actually keep me warm, fidget toys, slime, Play-Doh, Orbeez, and all the sensory toys I wanted as a child. Being an adult is awesome. Story 9. Not for myself, but for my child. I paid for my child to go to private school. I made sure he is never the child without, that he never knew a day of hardship as a child or severe poverty, that he has the opportunity to try any sport he wants, that he grew up in an environment from crap a child should never be exposed to, and all the love a child should have without worrying about adult shit. I hope I'm giving him a childhood that he does not have to recover from. I grew up so poor in such a deprived area, surrounded by junkies, alcoholism, domestic violence, and even murder. I swore I would never put any child through that and do better. So I guess I bought my escape to a better life and to provide a better life for my child. Don't know if this answer counts. Story 10, I grew up poor. So any electronics I wanted, I busted my ass doing yard work chores for small amounts of money, and saving up for secondhand stuff like a GameCube for my brother's friend that I bought. As an adult with a good enough income, I got myself the Switch when it first came out, and a PS4 and such. I got myself a Meta Quest 2 as well and have had it for about 5 years. I think because I had to work for my consoles, I saved up for 2 years for a DS Lite back in middle school. I took really good care of them and still do to this day. My GameCube did stop reading discs years ago, but my DS Lite is still in prime condition to this day, and I got that thing in 6th grade. I'm 28 now. As an early Christmas gift to myself, I got a Meta Quest 3S with a couple accessories, and since my Quest 2 is in prime condition, I've been setting it up to be gifted to my nephew. He's 9 now. Since he's been such a good and sweet boy, who was super careful with it when I'd bring it over for him to play on. There's no way in hell his parents could afford one, so I want to give him something that not only my parents would never be able to get, but it literally didn't exist then. I know it's a hand-me-down, but I consider it like when a teen gets a beater car for their first car. If something happens and it breaks, not the end of the world. If he can show me that he can take great care of it, then in a handful of years, I'll get him a new model. But yeah, being able to get me the things I couldn't even dream of and give that experience to my nephew is the best damn feeling in the world. Like I'm finally in a place in my life where I have that power and impact on myself and my loved ones. Story 11, a cat. I remember buying a cat book at the Scholastic Fair in 2000 about all different kinds of cats. My mom refused to adopt a cat for me. I obsessed over that book until my mom accidentally lost the book when I turned 18 and moved out of her home. I went to a shelter not looking to adopt, but accompanied a friend who was. We went into the cat section, and there she was, a Siamese cat that I read about for so many years. The best part was that she came right up to me and started giving me love, which apparently she wasn't keen on people, so I adopted her. She was already super old and came with some health conditions, but that didn't stop me. Old cats need a home too. She was with me through everything. My first serious boyfriend, getting engaged, then married, we merged our pets together. And it was just her, my husband's small dog. She was the best cat ever. She unfortunately passed away when I was pregnant with my first baby. Since then, I haven't adopted another cat. It's hard to measure up to the sweetest gentle bug ever. I miss my Yuki. Story 12. When I was a kid, my dad had one of those Galileo thermometers, the kind where there's a bunch of different multicolored bubbles floating in some kind of liquid, and you can tell what the temperature is based on what balls are floating. I was obsessed with it as a kid, and I wanted one in my bedroom so bad that I would beg him for weeks on end to either get me my own or let me move the one he had to my bedroom. Eventually, he promised me that I could take it with me when I moved out, and I was waiting for the day that I could have this super awesome thing to myself. My brother broke it at some point. I wasn't there when it happened, but I had heard that he had crashed into the bookshelf it was sitting on while doing something, and it fell and broke. I was devastated because it was genuinely one of my favorite things to look at. A few years ago, I found out they're not all that expensive, so I just bought my own. Totally worth it. Those things are still wicked cool to look at.